Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening whenever you may be listening, and welcome to Lattitude, the 43 North podcast. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Kaleida Health, where every day they change lives and make miracles happen. Learn more at KaleidaHealth.org. And this is the big bracketology episode of Lattitude, and I'm joined, of course, by our senior bracketologists, Dan Greene.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me, Nate. Thank you.
Dan Greene, Director of Operations here at 43 North, and you might be asking yourself, why is Dan Greene with me this week? So I will toss that question to Dan. Why are you with me this week, Dan?
Oh, because of that big sigh, Nate. We made it. We got through the entire judging process. What started back in the close of the application world, and I think it was May 31st, and started in June, took us through July, and then August, has now culminated with our identifying those 16 companies that we're inviting to pitch at finals on October 5th. So we are here to talk about those 16 companies, and man, it feels great, I got to say.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's exciting.
Now, for those who don't know kind of the structure of 43 North, as Director of Operations, you oversee finding the judges, the judging process, and you're kind of the judge czar, so to speak, of the competition, right?
Yeah, we wind a couple different things into the process. We have judging the written application, judge panels that are meeting, to have industry-specific conversations and subject matter conversations about what's going on in those applications. And we have the video pitches. We also go through some due diligence, and we have a statistician the entire time, sort of like helping us correct any sort of outliers or other anomalies that need to be looked at. So we're looking at everything from intellectual property to product market fit and everything in between. And since we're still a generalist competition and we've got life science companies pitching right after tech companies, right after manufacturing companies, we rely on some really smart people across a bunch of different industries that give us a lot of their time over summer, the beautiful Buffalo summer, the most valuable days on our calendar year, and they're very generous with that.
And as much as I love the incubator here, it's not the outdoors, so they're giving up the prime time to kind of give back to the startup community.
I'm like, let's do pitches outside. Let's just see what happens. Can't get many folks with an appetite for that.
So you kind of answered my question before I asked it, but kind of walk me through. So we ended the application periods at the end of May. So how did we get from the end of May to what we're about to announce today?
Mm-hmm. So across June, we're looking at everyone's answers, those 60 questions they're answering. They're providing their financials. They're doing some serious deep dives.
And that was how many final applicants that applied and made it
I think
through?
we had 502, 503.
Okay.
Wow. So we pulled that down to, I think, around 130 semifinalists. They pitch via live video from all over the world to a panel of our judges who are sitting and waiting to ask questions. So you get their glossy, beautiful pitch, and then you get judges just hammering them.
Yeah.
Which is fun because it's one thing to present an argument or a value prop in a written application where you can think it out and choose your words very carefully. It's another thing when a judge is just keeps going back to the well on one issue, or they think there's a weakness, or they think there's an opportunity that hasn't been explored, or anything in between. So
what's funny is a lot of us saw the applications once they came in, and on paper, I thought there were certain companies that like, oh boy, this is a $1 million, billion, $1 trillion idea. Like, this company's obviously going to win. And I can, with a little bit inside baseball, I can say none of those companies are actually on this list we're about to announce. So
don't feel bad.
Don't feel bad. So it kind of speaks volumes to the high quality judges you were able to bring in. They were able to see through what was good on paper, but was it really a good, viable idea? Yeah,
and we spend a lot of time with the judges. Building consensus where they're talking about what they're seeing across applications and leveraging each other's knowledge, experience, the time that they've put into making sure they understand what's going on in an application, their own due diligence that they're doing, so that we can, what may look great to one judge, another judge is able to say, oh, what about, and ask a really pointed question, and then sort of deflate, so sort of refine us down to those 16 where we think we've identified undoubtedly some very cool opportunities for 43 North and Buffalo.
So you whittled that down, 100 plus companies down to about 40. Did the due diligence, and here we are, huh?
Yeah, these poor souls. They've dealt with phone calls from me, video conferences with me, a lengthy intellectual property request from me, all sorts of just one-off random. Hey, what about? Hey, tell me this, tell me that. because it's a process and we follow it, but there's always one more question to be asked. And so we try to use our judges and myself. Sometimes I'm the tip of the spear of that to get in and provide as much information to our judges as possible. And
then, of course, you go into a meeting, and from that meeting has 10 more questions for these companies, so you have to call them again.
It's never finished. Yeah.
All right, so how about we do this? We got how many finalists this year in the competition?
We have 16 finalists in the competition. Coming to Buffalo, New York.
But the golden paper here of the bracket, we've got obviously all of our bracketicians here in the room crunching away. A lot of bad sports references.
Yeah, you can hear the TI-83 is just doing all the statistical analysis of probability and odds.
So what do you want to do? You want to do alphabetical or reverse alphabetical? How do you want to do this?
Let's do reverse alphabetical.
All right. So we've got Water Hero.
Yes.
What's the deal with Water Hero? It's not a PlayStation game similar to Guitar Hero, correct?
Oh, that one probably made me laugh too hard.
Yeah.
Water Hero is led by Dan Sterling. They're coming to us out of Massachusetts, and they're an Internet of Things product that you attach to your pipes, and even to your pipes in your basement, your pipes around your house, so that you understand what's going on if there's a burst, or even where you're just wasting water. These guys are able to explain, hey, when you have a toilet that's running, that adds up, and our product can go into your home and show you what's going on with that. And also pretty significant, they can go into major developers' developments and tell you what's going on across an enormous number of apartments, which really adds up again if you're in charge of the utilities there for an 80-unit apartment building. So
it's a scalable item in terms of the average homeowner could use it, or from a high-end residential kind of larger apartment complex or even commercial building could use this technology.
Yeah, that's the way that they've positioned themselves so far and what they've described. And it's one of those things where the more things you can access on your phone, the more people tend to want it. So
Internet of Things, man, everyone loves it.
There it is.
Moving on, Vivicell Bio.
Vivicell Bio, one of our life science companies, very interesting, based across the Midwest, and this is where life sciences becomes fun.
Yeah.
When trying to describe what's going on here.
Especially because between the two of us, we have about a quarter of the brain of a scientist.
At best, on my finest day, Nate. Yeah. They're a fluid for helping patients in shock that are having insufficient fluid moments, essentially in your blood, adding a product that can help your fluid sufficiency within your blood. I'm going to stick to that. Any follow-up questions?
You
can't see it, but I'm sweating right now. I'm just trying to.
I'm sweating buckets because I can't think of a follow-up. I'm not going to lie. And we'll see this theme throughout. Some of these companies, life science did very strong, and I think that has to do with just life science in Buffalo kind of go hand in hand. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see the opportunity where companies that apply to 43 North, especially in the life science and biotech spaces, sometimes already have pre-existing relationships with some of the institutions we have here or the healthcare systems because of that being a strength. So there's an immediate attraction, if not already an existing relationship.
Moving up the list in reverse alphabetical order, Terra AI. So we have an artificial intelligence company, it looks like, made the finalists this year.
Yeah, Iba Masood is leading this team from California, and they're using automation to connect programmers into the most efficient way to build products. So think of looking at all of your computer engineers, computer scientists, and saying, computer engineer A, computer engineer H, and computer engineer J are the best combination of people to execute this project. Assign them these roles, and they will get it done more efficiently than anything else.
So essentially, a company, determines the assets they have on staff in terms of skill set, skill ability, and Terra AI will then be able to partner them up for whatever projects that company needs. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Wow, and so I think they've positioned themselves as saying that can be both in-house and done sort of on contract and for hire. So,
which is great. A lot of companies now are trying to do more with less, and I think they'll want to know what potential their staff has. When they're trying to get in or pitch a project or bid for any type of contract.
Yeah, and you look at like sort of what the 1099 economy offers as far as really bright people who are out there doing contract work and how you can just plug them in for smart project management.
Sun Care.
Yeah, sun care is going to be very interesting for those folks who are very conscious of sunburn. They have produced a indicator of UV light. So you put a patch on when you go out in the sun, or you put it maybe on your child, and you put your protection over it, your sunscreen. And after your sunscreen is worn off, that patch shows back up. So it goes, however many hours you have protection, and then lets you know, hey, time to reapply. So they're coming to us out of Ontario, a couple of young guys who actually knew a couple of our previous winners. So they were very excited by sort of the alumni network. So they have an interesting thing, especially, I think, for your golfers, your parents.
Parents are going to love this.
Yeah, man, the burn of shame, right?
I've got 2 kids at home, and there's nothing more hysterical to me than, as we're going to the beach, slathering them up with, sunscreen every hour or so, because you're just like, oh, gotta stay protected and stuff. And yeah, absolutely, parents are gonna love that.
My nieces look like they've just been dipped in a giant vat of mayonnaise. I'm like, do we even rub this in? No, we just
Squire, which has possibly the best description of a company on this list.
Finding an efficient use of words is important, and these guys, I think, do a good job of that. Simply describing themselves as the open table for barbershops. Two guys coming to us from New York City, and they were committed to understanding the barbershop predicament of sort of running an efficient business. So they went ahead and went to work at a barbershop. So they wanted the industry experience, so they went out and got it.
Now, were they barbers prior to this idea, or they recognized they were probably sitting in the barbershop one day. It's like, there's a problem here, but we can't identify it until we.
You got to live it. You got to live it to know it, right?
So they go out and get their license to be barbers.
I think they're just running a barbershop.
Okay.
I wouldn't go to them for a haircut yet, Nate. But yeah,
because I need some work.
Yeah, Sanj and Dave were wanted to know it, and so they went out and lived it and said, hey, we can build a platform that can better support this and help barbers make more money. That's what they've done.
That's going to be and there's a lot of barbershops that they can probably beta test.
Yeah.
Soma Detect, moving up the list. What does Soma Detect do? What's their background and their story?
Soma Detect, I hope Bethany, their CEO, will forgive me, but when I pull milk out of the fridge, I always smell it.
Sure.
And Soma Detect is a ag tech company that's doing that, except many steps earlier. Sort of when the milk is going from the cow and the farmer into the big tanks, they're testing for quality and ensuring that milk isn't going to taint larger supplies of milk that is being added to. Wow. So they're an interesting company coming to us, again, from the Great White North in Canada.
Ag tech is very, very sexy right now for a lot of investors, because farming is such a huge part of business in the United States, and bringing that up to the 21st century and beyond is kind of where they're at right now. They've been doing the same thing for 100 years in terms of farming and dairy and things like that, but now that utilizing technology and getting technology behind their farming is really popular, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just sort of identifying problems early or ensuring quality of product is things that they can provide. And coming from New Brunswick, they see, that's sort of, as we talked about in the life science space, they see upstate New York as fertile ground for their product and for them to sort of find customers. So
yeah, the dairy industry here is huge.
Yeah, they saw an instant attraction to Buffalo and 43 North.
Selfie cart, I assume that's a cart in which I take selfies.
You take selfies and everything, Nate, from what I've seen. So cart or no cart. They essentially help you check out of stores faster. You go into the grocery store, you pick up 2 cans of soup because that's all you're there for. You scan the barcodes with your phone, and you walk out and just show folks on your phone that you've paid for it. So no waiting in lines, none of the sort of weird swiping at the self-service thing where they want to...
That doesn't work. Yeah. I mean, that's a very broken system.
Place your can of soup in the bag. And you're like, I did, it's in there.
I don't like, and I'm one of those people, I don't like to take a bag. When I go to Home Depot to do self-checkout, I just put the box of nails down and skip the bag, and they insist I take the bag.
Yeah, and just waiting in lines in general.
Yeah. Retail is always in the news because Amazon seems to be killing retail brick and mortar places. So I think the more advanced retail places become and more convenient they become, they'll have some longevity. And I think services like Selfie Cart fit right into that, modernizing retail.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. There's always going to be some component of retail. It's a matter of who's using it and how.
Yeah. How's your kidneys? Your kidneys are doing good?
Thank you for pronouncing it right. That's Kidney Labs, Qidni. A constant trip up through the earlier rounds when judges would be like, now what about Quidni? And then like, another judge would be like, you mean kidney? Oh, wait. Are we talking about the same company?
You and I, after finals, will do a follow-up just about... We'll do a hot take episode on startup names, I'm sure, because I'm sure...
Yeah, the trademark protection is strong in these teams. They are not risking spelling anything correctly. Yeah.
So Kidney Labs, what are they working on?
Kidney Labs, Morteza Admati is a very smart gentleman who is working in sort of the nephrology space and ensuring better blood purification through your kidneys, right? So dialysis is huge, another big issue. It's... I don't know how many different ways to describe sort of how terrible and invasive it is and how all-consuming it is for folks who have to use it regularly. So Kidney Labs and Morteza are looking at ways to update their solution to it. I won't do them any disservice by trying to describe it any further as a life science company, though.
Yeah, that's, again, beyond me. I'm not a scientist.
Yeah.
I can vehemently admit that on this podcast.
Let's just keep hitting that button every time.
Disclaimer, Dan Greene and Nate Benson are not scientists. MoBioSense.
MoBioSense, coming to us, I believe, from Harvard up in Massachusetts. Were in the competition last year. They're an inspiring story.
That's right, yeah.
They reapplied, made it through semifinals, and were almost in the finals last year. This year, they've been invited again to the finals. They are producing a portable device that checks your blood for troponin levels, and troponin is an early identifier for heart attacks. So it's an opportunity to identify whether or not you're at risk for a serious heart attack when, in the moment, as you think you may be having one, for elevated levels of troponin.
And it's just a biochip that they can then take just a single drop of blood and detect those levels, huh?
Yeah. Wow. So it's, I think their hope is one day everyone has this and it's readily available. So whenever you have chest pains, you want to know what's going on. Yeah. You can figure out what it is faster.
Kangaroo Time, a Australian television show for kids, I assume. No.
So close. Scott Wayman and his team are on a mission. They have applied to 43 North a couple of times and have grown stronger every year, and have built their platform to a point where they're helping enough early education systems take on so many different components of what that business entails, drop-offs, medications, everything else, billing, everything else that goes into that, that they're now able to join us in the finals, and it's great having known them for a couple of years to sort of see that come to fruition, the resilience they've shown. So they're going to bring that platform and pitch it and show what they can do for early education systems all over the country, if not further. So
what I find fascinating about this startup is they're trying to take on, operating system like Windows and Macs are in pretty much every school, and those might not necessarily be the best solutions, and the software that comes with those, might not be the best solutions. And because software development now is relatively affordable, the cloud services to back those up are relatively affordable now. There's the potential for industries to really get niche and create systems that actually work for students, for if you're in life sciences, whatever industry you're getting into, and I think this is a great example of that.
Yeah, I imagine that you can tell me, as a parent of young kids, to be able to receive more information in a more user-friendly manner, as it's happening from their pre-K, makes life easier rather than sort of getting a note home at the end of the day or the end of the week and figuring it out.
You haven't done your homework for 5 days. What are you doing?
Yeah, still allergic to peanut butter. Huh?
Yeah.
How many EpiPens?
Been working on that.
Yeah.
Quick break. So there's been a couple companies that have had some sort of presence within the 43 North, whether they've applied in the past. Did you see a lot of that throughout the judging this year? Like companies that didn't quite make it last year, refined, pivoted, and got better, and now we're seeing them here on closer to the finals.
Yeah, this goes back to sort of the evolution of 43 North, right? We've started looking for companies that have hit a certain phase of their lifespan, right? They've raised some money beyond friends and family. They've built out a bit of a team. Their beta tests are later, there may be, pre-revenue or generating revenue. And so it's often just a timing thing, and that's why we try to give back feedback to teams where they ask for it, is to let them know where as they're growing, it's timing, but as they're growing, here's a couple of things to pay attention to, because we'd love to see you back next year. And if you think you're a right fit for 43 North and growing your business in Buffalo, then absolutely, please take us up on any offer feedback we can provide, because it's inspiring, to see. These are the passions of these individuals. They live and breathe it. So, to see them grow year over year, you can't help but say, good for you, man. One way or the other, however this breaks, it's inspiring.
And I think it speaks volumes, in not puffing our chests, but it's a good value for startups to keep coming at 43 North, because it's, the prize money is good, the incubation is good, and they themselves see value that, 43 North is a good fit for them as well.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Great. Super. Mm-hmm. So, Fig Loans.
Fig Loans is sort of a micro lending program for the underbanked. So they're working with your United Ways, your other nonprofits that want to help folks and want to be in the micro loan space, and there's sort of that in between, because it's a bit of a void or a delta, as is the fun word to say in startup land, delta, between wanting to do that and being able to do that, right? And Fig Loans is the intermediary to step in and say, here's how you're going to do it, here's how we're going to help you articulate on both sides of that conversation what the upside is and how we're going to finance it.
So we've well established on this podcast that we're not scientists. Something else we can easily establish, we're not women. So we can't speak to this next startup too much, but Fema Secrets.
Thanks for that lead-in.
It's an all-star lead-in.
Yeah. This is a pad that is bonded and built into underwear for women. So it has a lot of different applications. Coming out of Atlanta, Davielle is a captivating presenter, and she's done a heck of a job with this company so far. So we're looking forward to having her up here and letting her describe it more.
And it's already available on the market, which I would assume helped, so to speak, getting into the finals. They're already available in Walmart and Target, the small retail chains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's again, because we're across a couple different industries, you see different paths and lengths of paths, right? Our life science and biotechs have a longer path to move, but in our consumer products and our platforms, we often see companies that are generating significant revenues. It was true of our last class of winners in this group, whether it's Femi Secrets, Fig Loans, Doblet, who we're going to get to, Squire, or Kangaroo Time. I mean, they're out there and they've already built a business. Mm-hmm. They want to come to us because obviously of the investment and the opportunity for us to give them help in getting a major foothold in Buffalo and growing from here, and then sort of scaling their business the right way.
Dozop.
Dozop's one of those captivating companies led by a captivating leader. Luca comes to us from Italy by way of Miami. He's an interesting guy. He's accomplished some things, and it's just a simple, elegant design to how to move objects that are a little too heavy for you to carry, but not you're not trying to move them so far that you can't that you want to throw them in the back of a car. So it's a very portable dolly system.
Is it the exosuit from Alien, the giant yellow exosuit?
you just keep that in your basement and bring it out when you're like, time to move the fridge. Yeah.
It's not that.
To the 0.04% of people who understood that
Nobody
reference.
Nobody who listens to this podcast does not know that.
Okay. Dozop. I wouldn't even do it the injustice of trying to describe exactly what it is, except it's a highly portable, small item that breaks out into being a dolly that you can, throw some heavy boxes on when you want to roll them from your house out to your car.
Yeah,
and you can't carry them.
As someone who lugs or lugged quite a bit of equipment to and from a car to an office, a solution like that I'm very interested. So I'm excited to talk to the team over there and hear their pitch.
I constantly think of living in New York, and one of my favorite stories was two girlfriends of mine were moving from one apartment to the other, and it was about 8 blocks away. So just the perfect distance to not rent a vehicle or a car to carry all their stuff, and watching them, so I was like carrying a box behind them, the two of them carrying a mattress for 8 blocks.
And you know how exactly this ends. Like stuff scattered throughout the streets of New York.
Yeah.
Doblet. What's up with Doblet? What's Doblet?
Doblet is coming to us from California. They're a smart portable charging network. So if you're familiar with city bikes, where you can take a bike out, ride it around, return it to another station, same thing with Doblet. You have software on your phone that says, you're at 20%, my friend, you've been out too long, and you look in your bag, you don't have a charger? Okay, drop by this store or this Doblet station, take out one of the chargers, and keep going about your way.
Wow, okay. Yeah. So it's not like go here and then sit and wait. It's grab and go and then drop it off at the next.
Yeah, they're looking to be in thousands of locations.
Wow, so. That's very interesting. And I know Buffalo's just getting used to the concept of renting bikes and dropping them off somewhere with the Ready bikes that just came in locally. So I think this is a concept we should be able to easily wrap our heads around. Yeah,
exactly. Especially the younger folks who I am now only through hard-learned lessons have I learned to carry around chargers or anything like that. It's too often where a Saturday event goes longer than expected, and I'm looking to charge my phone somehow, and I know most waitresses, waiters, bartenders, servers, hostesses, and hosts hate that request.
Hey guys, plug this in.
Yeah.
No.
You can leave.
You can leave. Yeah. When I was a news guy, I was always my fellow news staff would sometimes make fun of me because I would buy the kind of the lipstick phone chargers on Amazon, but I buy them like 10 at a time, and I had they were scattered throughout. I ended up losing them, but I never had a phone that died out in the field. Like I was always charged, and in that job you need to be. But now that I'm a consumer, I'm not living and dying by my phone anymore. Like I think I'm at 17% right now. Like it's like, and I'm in an office. So of course, like if I'm running around, like that's a great solution.
Yeah.
Just like grab that real quick.
17% at 3:32 p.m.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a busy day.
Clearly. Well, those mines aren't going to sweep themselves. You got to jump on there. Okay.
No, I've been sweeping most of the mines today. Cellular Preservation Technologies, wrapping up. We have 2 more, and they're both Buffalo companies, actually.
Yes. Cellular Preservation Technologies does just what its name says it does.
Preserve cells.
Matt Colpoy is their CEO. It does a better job really explaining the ins and outs of this company, but they're preserving platelets and blood for a longer time than they currently last. I think they doubled it or nearly tripled it, if I'm not misquoting the application and pitch. So
in the transport and storage of that material is critical, and so I think like anytime hospitals or services that do that have more of a window of opportunity. I mean, I think that's a great opportunity and a great recognition of a potential startup idea.
Yeah, and when you're harvesting it and you have 5 days to make use of it, they've got people working around the clock on the weekends. Their technology hopes to change that to, I think, around 14 days. So you really change sort of even just how the work around the therapies and laboratory processes
Interesting
work.
background with them, too. That wasn't necessarily the end result, right? It didn't start with that, did it?
I believe this came out of searching for a technology to de-stink frozen fish. That's right. De-stinking frozen fish somehow became the preservation of blood cultures and platelets. So
you're going to have to come to Shea's on October 5th and hear the pitch, potentially, and find out
and then sit alone in a room with the internet for a couple months and really try to unpack how that got there. But yeah, good on them for jumping there,
because that's a few continents of getting from stuff. But it's a very interesting story, and I can't wait to talk with them when they get here. Last but not least, Burner Fitness Buffalo.
Yeah, Burner Fitness, another Buffalo team, CEO who's worn a path all over the country, working on other startups. They are a marketplace for online fitness training programs, right? So they create a platform for your average gym trainer to sort of market and make available his routines, his workouts, and get folks engaged because he only has so many hours in the day that he can actually be working with someone. Through Burner Fitness, he can actually be working with any number of people. So it's a platform for any trainer out there.
It's something I know nothing about, so I'm going to leave it up to the trainers.
Looking at this table, no one in this room knows anything about workouts.
So that's that. 16, the bracket of 16. So how you feeling? It's been a gauntlet for you guys over in operations.
Yeah, I'm watching all the emails come pouring in from the CEOs of these companies telling me that I'm butchering they're like, you've ruined me. So my apologies to anybody who I didn't quite nail their descriptions. But no, these guys are, again, it's their passion. It's what they give their lives to. And so it's inspiring to just be a part of that in any little way. And to know that they have answered every call, every email, every question that we've had to get to this point, and want to grow and scale their business, in Buffalo in 2018 and hopefully beyond with our investment as part of that is great. It's a great class. It's going to be very difficult to get this from 16 down to 8. But that's what we do, and that's where all the fun lies on October 5th.
And I was just about to say that. So that fun starts on October 5th. These 16 companies will pitch during the day at Shea's in front of hopefully 3,000 students. We're bringing students from Buffalo Public Schools and other area school districts to watch these pitches live and kind of see these founders sweat it out in a large panel of judges, up to over 20, I believe, right?
Yep, and we've got the subject matter experts and the industry-specific panels broken out for the different sort of collections of teams here across the different industries and sectors.
So after that, those judges will narrow down a top 10, and those top 10 teams will pitch again live at Shea's in the evening, and that's when the general public can come in, see the show. You can reserve your tickets at the 43 North website. I encourage you to do so. We are expecting 3,000 people to sell out Shea's that night, so you want to hop on your internet now and get those seats. We've got 7 kind of well-known judges in the venture capital and life sciences and tech scene world coming in to narrow that 10 down to 8 who will win prizes.
Yeah, and this year, during the day there's going to be 16 pitches. In the evening, there's going to be 10 pitches, and across all of it, every company will really get put through its paces by those judges. So for any of if you watch any TV shows that sound similar to this, wherein someone pitches and then judges sort of tear them apart a little bit, this will be very similar in that you'll have some live action on stage and folks really being tested as far as
It's a show that rhymes with Bark Bank.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea. Please don't come after us, ABC.
Are we treating? Wait, are you just not allowed to say TV shows on podcasts?
I don't know.
It seems like that's totally available. I don't know why we're shying away from this.
Know.
Yeah,
it's more entertaining that way.
We need a lawyer in the room.
If only some fighting Irishman lawyer.
But the fifth will be a lot of fun, and I think the students during the daytime they add an amazing energy to it because you get the oohs and the ahs and the responses, and so we want to carry that through to the evening and see those pitches again, just in shorter form. Yeah, and
so it's going to be the 10 companies pitching for 2 minutes with a 4-minute Q&A with the 7 judges on stage, and that's a little different than years past. We kind of reviewed the show earlier this year and really determined people want to see these guys. Sorry, teams who are listening, we want to see you sweat it out in front of 3,000 people, and if you can confidently pitch your idea and impress those judges, you'll obviously win a prize.
And it's better from the audience perspective because we have a viewer's choice, people's choice. They get $10,000. We ask folks to vote live in the moment, and so here it is. You get to see every single pitch. You get to sort of wrap your arms around what these companies are doing rather than hearing about it or reading about it. And
very interactive show it's going to be.
Yeah.
So you want to go over to 43north.com, register for your tickets for October 5th. There's still some seats left, but we are anticipating and hoping and expecting that it will sell out. So make sure you head on over there now to do that. And Dan, anything else you want to wrap this up with?
Sometimes I go to 43north.org for my tickets.
Did I say .com?
But whatever.
Did I say .com?
.com is
wow. It's almost like
.com is commercial.
Wow,
Org is
we're an organization.
Yeah.
Wow, basic internet 101. 43north.org.
We invest in tech.
The best part is the digital media management. It's like literally the website.
I can already feel this part getting cut out. So I'm all right.
I'll keep it. I'm keeping it. I will bring shame upon my title. 43north.org. Register for your tickets for Shea's October 5th. Dan and I will be there in the Dumb and Dumber suits. I've claimed orange Look good in orange. So, Dan, great work with you and Lauren and the rest of your volunteer judges on narrowing this down. It's an impressive list, and it's going to be even more impressive seeing these guys on stage on October 5th.
It's been an absolute blast, and I would just thank all of the 502 companies that applied, because they make it all worthwhile for us. It's a very interesting process to go through with all of them. And sometimes we test their patience. Sometimes we ask really insightful questions, and sometimes we ask really dumb questions. So thanks to them and to our judges for all being a part of it.
All right. Remember, 43north.org. Reserve your tickets for October 5th. I'm Nate Benson for Dan Greene. Thank you very much, and we'll see you at the next one.